Hey everyone, Mr. MC here. This is a guide for a Tokyo Expressway South Outer Loop with the Nissan MOTUL AUTECH GTR. Let's get this started. Bring yourself to the left and brake before you reach the 50-meter mark. You'll be braking hard for a short moment. Quickly ease off of the brakes and be careful when applying the throttle so you don't hit the wall. For this left turn, do a quick lift off of the throttle. Fully accelerate to this right turn. Turn in when the wall on the left starts. Do another quick lift as you go through the turn, and when you start to see the green junction signs, you can then start to fully accelerate. Bring yourself to the left again. Use the pillar in between the 150 and the 100 meter mark as your next braking point. Brake hard for a short while. Quickly bring yourself to the curbs on the inside of the turn. Get the car pointing where you want to go, and then start to fully accelerate. Just make sure the car is straightened out so you don't initiate oversteer. Then for this long straight, just take these turns as gently as possible. Bring yourself to the left and brake as you approach the 50-meter sign. Brake hard for a very short moment. Quickly ease off of the brakes, just let the car make the turn. Slowly accelerate, and this is where it gets really silly. You're going to be pretty aggressive for this chicane. So brake after you reach the 50-meter mark, turn in when the curb on the left starts. Take advantage of this first curb to try to go around the second curb. Get the car straightened up, and then start to fully accelerate and take this last turn flat out. For the time trial, you want to be aggressive on that chicane, but during the race, you want to be a lot more careful with it so you don't rack up any penalties. Yeah, this chicane is pretty silly. As for the race strategy itself, this is a pretty easy no-stop race. You don't have to worry about refueling. As for the tires, there will be a bit of tire wear, and that will slowly start to kick in towards the last few laps, but other than that, it's nothing too much to worry about. All you have to do is just adjust your driving as you go through the final few laps. Something to note is that this is actually a bit of an interesting race since we are in high downforce cars. If you are within 3/4 of a second behind someone, you're going to be getting the substream of the car in front of you. This is bad when it comes to the twistier parts of the track, as the lack of downforce that your car is getting will cause the car to want to understeer more. So you will need to slow down a little bit more. Even on the final turn, you will need to do a short lift off of the throttle so you don't hit the wall. But when it comes to this back straight and main straight over at the start finish line, the substream will come in pretty useful. If you are within that 3/4 of a second gap, you will catch up to the car ahead of you, and that will set you up to perform a nice overtake if possible. As for the chicane itself, you want to be a lot more careful. Don't be as aggressive as you would be on the time trial. So the thing is that you just don't want to mess up. You don't want to end up losing control, hitting the wall, and rack up any penalties that way. The weight from the fuel will make the car a little more stable, so that is something that will help you navigate through that chicane a little more safely. But other than that, just don't push it too much, don't push your luck. And I do want to quickly mention a bit more about the substream stuff. You want to make sure that you are within 3/4 of a second or less behind the cars in front of you so you can easily catch up to them as you're going through the back straight or the main straight. The moment that you're more than 3/4 of a second behind someone, you lose your slipstream, and if you're going through this part, you're not going to be able to catch up to them. And if there's a group of cars ahead of you, they're most likely going to be working together, and that gap is going to end up increasing. And last but not least, try not to get any penalties, because the only penalty serving zone is at the start of this back straight, and that is going to cost you a lot of time. So for example, I ended up getting a 1.5 second penalty for hitting the wall, and in reality, even though I served that 1.5 second penalty, I actually ended up losing about 3 to 4 seconds. So if you think about it, someone is not too far behind you, they're going to easily catch up to you, and you're not going to be able to stay in their substream long enough to be able to catch up to them. And that's going to be even worse if there's a group of cars behind you. They catch up to you as you serve the penalty. They are all working together with the slipstream, so they're just going to fly past you and you'll get left behind. But that is pretty much it for this guide, and just try not to get any penalties here. Drink lots of water, because at least over here we're in a really crazy heat wave. But that's another story for another time, but I'm going to go ahead and sign off now. So this is Mr. MCA wishing you a good race, and I'll see you in the next video.